Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofrumento, and I know I'm excited about every episode, but I'm particularly excited for this episode because I very selfishly know that I'm going to learn a ton from today's guest, because everything that I found about him and his business is that this is someone who's at the cutting edge, not only of marketing, not only of business growth, not only of AI, but importantly, how to make all of these real world business things work together to really fuel all of our growth. So let me introduce you to today's guest. His name is Mike Ali. Mike is the founder of OnPath Marketing, which is an AI automation agency that builds AI-powered solutions to businesses to help them save time and get more clients. How's that for being results focused? OnPath Marketing started as a local marketing agency focused on getting leads for small businesses, but over time it evolved into building AI voice agents for restaurants to handle bookings and for businesses looking to automate their cold calling. The agency also develops advanced outreach systems that help companies send thousands of personalized emails per day. Not just blanket emails, but personalized emails. Mike's going to give us some really valuable insights there. Originally on track for a career in finance, Mike graduated as valedictorian, but quickly realized that entrepreneurship was the better path. And I'm grateful that he woke up and discovered this as his career path. Since then, he's been figuring out how to turn ideas into real scalable businesses, learning the hard way what works and what doesn't. This is a true entrepreneur's entrepreneur, so I'm excited about this one. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Mike Ali. All right, Mike, I am so very excited that you're here with us today. First things first, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Heck yes. I'm excited also to get your backstory because I'm so intrigued. So many brilliant minds like yours are at the forefront of what's going to be the future. We can't ignore it. So I want to hear that backstory of how you got into all this stuff. So who's Mike? How did you start doing it all?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you again for inviting me. I mean, it's a genuine honor and privilege to be invited to a podcast with over 1,000 episodes. It speaks a lot to your perseverance and determination as an entrepreneur. So I very much respect that. Now, as for me, I mean, I'm not supposed to be here right now. As you said, I graduated as a valedictorian and with a degree in finance. I was supposed to be somewhere in New York, working at a corporate job in investment banking. And that was the path. Graduate college, go find a job, career, that's it. But of course, life doesn't always pan out the way you want it to be. And I just found myself just wasting a lot of time sending in resumes, going on interviews, and then getting job offers I didn't like. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. And that's when I decided to start OnPath Marketing, a marketing agency. And I was doing that for a little bit over a year before I transitioned into AI. And the reason I chose marketing agencies is because it actually required zero capital to start. You just needed the domain and start sending out cold emails. I promised business owners to get them more clients through getting them more leads. And slowly but surely I transitioned into AI, and right now I'm selling AI voice agents, mainly AI cold calling agents that can call 5,000 leads in a single day using your cloned voice. And doubling down on that, I've hired already 2 people on my team. What started as a small business, I started it in my bedroom with my laptop, and now I have 2 people working with me. So it's been going great, and happy to explore this further with you.
Yeah, I love that overview, Mike, especially because we love growth stories here on this podcast. Obviously, it's inspiring for all the listeners to hear that because I love your transparency in calling out the fact that, you started, didn't require resources. And that's how I very much felt when I was 19 and I started my first business. I certainly didn't have resources, Mike. And that to me is one of the most beautiful things about this new frontier is AI is the great equalizer. You and I can do things that enterprise level companies had full on teams to do. You and I are not lawyers by trade, but now we have legal counsel that we can bounce ideas off of with AI. So talk to us about your view on that AI landscape. Obviously, a lot of people are playing with it, experimenting with it, finding use cases for it, but you very quickly recognized, hey, this is a genuine need in the marketplace. Let's leverage AI for business growth. What do your eyes turn to? Where do you think we are in terms of where AI is today and where we're going and how important it is for our businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can do pretty much everything with AI. You can build websites in less than 24 hours, having zero website coding experience. And that's what I started doing, actually. So you can use AI for anything, ChatGPT as your personal lawyer. And as for businesses, I mean, if you don't use AI, it's not that you'll be missing out. It's just, you're just going to be left behind a bit. And so AI right now, we're focusing on AI cold calling agents, which uses your clone natural voice to do cold calls on your behalf. And the thing with that is when you're doing cold calls, they're just 1-2 minute long calls. So it doesn't require much intelligence anyway. So AI is perfect for that. And there's little resistance when it comes to calling an AI cold caller, or buying an AI cold caller for your business, because you can call 5,000 leads a day. So in a working month, you can easily call 150,000 leads. And even if you don't have 150,000 leads, you can call all the leads you have in one day and easily scale with that. So it's really a no-brainer right now to get into AI and to develop AI solutions for businesses. And the AI cold calling agent is just one example. Other businesses require to automate their email campaigns, as you said in the intro. And if you require an app, previously you required a full team to build you that app, and now you can do it literally in less than 24 hours with zero coding experience, which is what I do. I also offer app building services, and it's just really great. You can do absolutely anything with AI, and you just need to always be up to date on the latest developments, because it's changing every single day.
Yeah, Mike, there's two things that I immediately want to jump into with regards to AI cold calling, because I know that's going to perk a lot of listeners' ears up. And the first thing is, obviously, so many people avoid cold calling, not because they don't believe that it's a valid form of marketing, but because they don't want to face the constant rejection. And I think it's so brilliant that with AI handling the cold calling portion, we don't have to face that rejection. And in fact, I would imagine, I'd love for you to take us behind the scenes, I would imagine you get back a treasure trove of data. So that's the first thing I want to hear from you about, is the nature of AI cold calling. And then the second thing that I really want to wrap in, because it has to do with the first, is a lot of people will think, who wants to hear from a cold caller, let alone who wants to hear from an AI cold caller? Like, it can't possibly be personalized to that level, which is of course one of the strengths of AI. So talk to us about that. Paint that picture of what cold calling via AI actually looks like.
Well, actually, right now, AI cold calling sounds extremely and utterly natural. And that is the key unique selling proposition of it. Because we've always had robocalls and Siri and all these robotic sounded AI, but right now it actually sounds natural, and there's even an option to clone your own voice. So if you're on the call for 2-3 minutes with a prospect, they're not going to realize it's AI. And in fact, the only thing that could make them realize it's AI is not the sound. It's actually sometimes the AI messes up and asks the same question twice. But that becomes a prompting issue. So you need to be an expert in prompt engineering and to tweak the agent and refine it and stress test it as much as possible. But absolutely, I mean, there are a lot of businesses right now who cold call leads, and not just real estate companies or insurance companies. A lot of businesses, unconventional niches, still require cold calling. And so when they hear our offer about an AI cold calling agent and they hear the sample, I send them a voice sample, and they just can't resist it. It sounds so natural. And that's actually why I jumped into this field, because when I first heard an AI voice agent in action, I couldn't believe myself. And I'm not really someone to be impressed by tech stuff, but when I heard that, I was genuinely impressed. And so, yeah, as you said about the data, I mean, we get a lot of data. I experienced about hundreds of thousands of cold calls right now, and pickup rates vary, but less than 0.5% of the calls drop off because they realize it's an AI. It's that efficient. And it also increases your booking rate drastically, because the AI never stops following you up. And that's a very important part of it. The AI will not settle for a not picked up. The AI needs a yes or a no. Or if it gets blocked, that's a third option. But it needs an answer. So if you keep calling them, of course, in a reasonable time frame, you're going to get higher answers, response rate, more bookings, and then eventually more clients and more money in.
Yeah, I love that, especially because you really get me thinking as a consumer how much cold calling matters. For example, I recently had a smart thermostat installed at my place, and Mike, I was brave enough to think that I could do it myself. I'm an avid student of YouTube University. I quickly realized there's no way I can install this smart thermostat myself. And so I just clicked the number in the app that says click here to get a professional installer. Within 3 seconds, a professional installer had called me, had scheduled an appointment, and someone was at my house 2 hours later. Now, was that AI? Quite frankly, I don't know. I tend to believe, because of the speed of execution, that it probably was. I remember 3 days later, another AC company had called me and they said, "Hey, can we help you out with that?" And I said, "No, it's already been solved." Like, speed matters. Money moves fast in the marketplace. Talk to us about some of those considerations, because a lot of people, you called out earlier in our conversation, these are quick quick 1 or 2 minute calls. That's all I was on the phone for. And they booked me a service technician to come out to my place. What's the nature of these calls? What can AI do on these calls? What are those tasks that it can handle? Can it close a sale? What's the full context of what it can do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these AI cold callers, they're built for quick cold calls to book meetings with prospects and integrate them with their calendar. But the AI can actually do anything. Yeah. So if you have a sales script and whatever your use case may be, if you want to call prospects, to call them about pest inspection or loft installations or whatever, the AI will follow the script and it will intelligently consider objections that it could face and handle. And that's where it comes in. It can actually follow any sales script in the world. Now, it's meant to be just for cold calls, but absolutely it can be used for closing. I've actually once used it for closing one client. And the reason I did that was because I really couldn't take the time to call the prospect myself. So I built an AI agent specifically to call that lead. And I actually ended up closing him. Now, I wouldn't recommend to do that often because closers require a lot of personal touch. But this AI cold caller is really just to leave the sales reps with a lot of more time to focus on closing instead of just following and chasing up leads that may not convert. So it really takes a lot of time off their hands and makes the business operations more efficient. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally use my AI cold caller to cold call my leads to pitch them the AI cold caller. So it's sort of like an inception type of thing. And really the sky is the limit when it comes to prompt engineering and when smarter LLMs come out and the AI becomes smarter in terms of answering questions and sounding more human. But yeah, sky's the limit. Sounds extremely natural. And there's very little objections when it comes down to it.
Yeah, Mike, but I will call out that I think part of your unique superpower in this space is the fact that you started out as a local marketing agency, and so you bring the marketing strategist mindset to it. A lot of people tuning into this episode might just really hone in on the AI component of it and say, wow, AI can clone voice. And we know that that's out there. Podcasters, content creators, we're all very cognizant of the power of this. Actually, I tested it out very recently, and I sent it was only like a 12-second voice clip to my family group chat to see if they could realize that wasn't me talking. It was actually AI. Nobody even batted an eyelid. They all thought that was me sending that voice memo. And so obviously people know about the technology, but I'd love for you to zoom out with us and talk to us about the underlying strategy, because what I'm hearing is that you have to identify your leads. You have to source your leads. You have to have the right messaging, the right offer, the right hook. Talk to us about that strategic stuff, because what you bring to the marketplace isn't merely adding AI onto things. It's the entire encompassing strategy. So I'd love you to walk us through what a successful campaign and rollout looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I started selling this, I really was focusing on the features and saying how it sounds very natural. It can connect with your CRM, calls thousands of leads a day. But with sales, you have to really sell the benefits, not the features. And right now I'm starting to shift the strategy and pitch it as something that could increase your booking rate, get you more clients. And I've been seeing more success with that. But still, you need to really mention that it sounds natural, because most people still think AI sounds robotic. Everyone agrees AI is intelligent, is more efficient, but the natural sounding part really surprises most people still. But yeah, when it first came out, nobody knew it sounded natural. Nobody knew you could clone voices. And where we come in is we say, hey, listen, you can actually build an AI agent for free online without needing our help. But where we come in is we help with the expertise and prompting so that the AI actually sounds intelligent and doesn't ramble on and sound robotic. And then we will connect your AI agent with your CRM so that you can track the calls. Because it doesn't mean anything if the AI just makes the calls and you don't know what happened in the calls, right? So you need to know which leads said yes, which said no. And so you connect that system with another large language model so that the AI analyzes the calls and then filters out the interested leads from the not interested leads. And then you link that with their calendar so that you really don't have to do anything at all. You just sit back and wake up, see your calendar full of meetings, and just take those meetings, close them, and move on. But my personal strategy right now, I'm personally focusing on Facebook ads, getting a lot of leads there, and I'm right now expanding to different markets, trying to get my cost per lead down. And as I said, I just get the leads from Facebook, and I use my cold caller to cold call them, book a meeting with me or one of my closers, and we close them. And that's my personal strategy.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, hearing that it's part of one bigger marketing mix. You talk about Facebook ads as sourcing those. I really want to call that out because that's different. Too many people, when they think about cold calling or cold email, they just think about buying these spammy promotional marketing lists, but you're finding a targeted audience and you're using your AI cold caller to fill your schedule up. What do those scripts look like? Because it actually sounds like all the things that we would convince ourselves how difficult it is and how complex it is. It sounds like you make it really simple and you say, no, here's how we use it to reach out, and in the span of 2 or 3 minutes, schedule a call. What do those scripts look like to get there so efficiently?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the script, the AI will just call them and say, hey, listen, we're going to build you an AI cold calling agent using your clone voice. They can call 1,000 leads a day and very efficiently and integrate it with your CRM. And then you address some objections, say, yeah, it doesn't really sound natural. Well, actually it sounds extremely natural, and we're going to send you a voice demo right now so you can check it out on your own time and see if you like it or not. And then they check it out. So the call ends, they check the voice sample out. It sends out automatically, so it's all automatic. So because you can't say no if you can't say no to sending a voice demo, right? So can I send you a voice demo? Yes, we send it. They listen back, say, all right, like my use case is pretty complex. Can you do it for us? Everyone thinks their use case is complex, but it's not really. So we then build them the AI agent without even paying anything. We build them the AI agent, then send them a number they can dial and talk to. They interact with the agent, and then they know it's actually legit. So the next part is, and that's the most important part, is linking it with the CRM so that the AI can make thousands of calls a day. And so that's pretty much it. I mean, you really face no objections except sometimes pricing, or people are not really ready to buy this stuff. But when someone is actually interested or actually committed, there's nothing to object to because it sounds natural, integrates with your CRM. It's pretty cheap. I mean, it costs 67 cents per call to make. So, and you have nothing to lose with that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Also, Mike, even aside from what you do as a business owner, the way that you operate, the way that you sell to people, the way that you show them that value beforehand, I feel like you just expose so many really cool insights and strategies that you personally use to just show that value up front. So, I mean, it seems so much of our conversation keeps coming back to the fact that it's a no-brainer for so many different reasons with regards to the technology's strengths and the affordability. I love how much you've emphasized that for us here today, too. Neither myself nor you nor any of our teams can call 50,000 people a month. That's just entirely out of the question. But this is just increasing that capacity. And I find, as the host of this show, I talk to so many different entrepreneurs, and yes, so many entrepreneurs as well. And Mike, they convince themselves of, oh, I'm not ready for that sort of volume. I wouldn't be able to handle that sort of capacity. What's your answer? How do you help people rise to that level where they see the potential of, yeah, even if you're calling 50,000 people a month, you're only going to convert X%. Only so many of those are going to turn into paying customers and repeat customers. How do you walk people through the capacity questions that I'm sure they have?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most businesses, they don't have 50,000 leads to call. So most have they want to call 10,000 or 5,000. And the offer is really simple. Just the AI will take it over from you so your team can focus on actually closing those leads. And so I don't really have to have this conversation with them because the AI is going to match their pickup rate, and even exceed it just a bit. So the capacity issue is not really one, unless they decide to get more leads and contact them more and scale it, because 5,000 leads a day is not the maximum. You can actually call 10,000 leads a day. So it's very scalable. And if a business wants to do that, they just be prepared to do that, because having more leads, more prospects is not actually a bad thing. It's a good problem to have. And I've never had a business say, oh, it's too much, we can't handle it. It's usually that we need more. We need more, and we want to call more. And I've had businesses, they have 5,000 leads, and they spent 12 months calling them because they're not really committed to cold calling. So they call them every now and then, a few people here and there, and then in 2 days, they call them completely, and they close a lot more clients than they ever thought possible in a span of 2 days. So they didn't complain, and I wouldn't. I was hopeful that they wouldn't complain, because I can't help them if they have too many clients. I mean, that's sort of my goal. It's to get them as many clients as possible.
Yeah, it's great to hear you call it out as a good problem to have, and I absolutely echo that. For all of us listeners, these are the types of good problems to have. You'd rather be on that side of the fence than the too few customers side of the fence. So, Mike, it's really cool that that's part of what you take joy in bringing to your clients, because that's a much easier problem to figure out than someone sitting there saying, gosh, I don't have any revenue. I don't have any clients to serve. It's always better to be on that other side. So huge kudos to you. I want to switch gears a little bit because I also want to talk about the fact that it's not all you do. We talked about at the top of today's episode about advanced outreach systems and sending those personalized emails, that there are so many different touch points. Cold calling is not the only type of solution. And a lot of people, again, will go back to, as consumers, we've experienced a lot of spam emails that land in our inbox because none of them are personalized. I, as a podcast host, I get them every single day of my life. I'm sure all of us do. Talk to us about that personalization component, because I feel like this is really the first time in history when we've been able to personalize at scale thanks to AI. What does that look like in your world?
Yeah, completely. I mean, it's actually incredible that you can send more volume and personalize it. It's actually insane how it can be done. But the way it's done is, so you get a list of emails that you're going to want to contact, and you then use AI to buy different domains so that you don't land in spam, because you can't send 2,000 emails using one domain. So you're going to use AI to do AI bots, like to prevent AI from to prevent the emails from landing in spam. That requires a lot of AI power, and then we integrate with it a no bounce feature, so that emails have to only be sent to verified emails, because spam is one thing and bouncing emails is another thing. So what we promise is 2,000 emails every single day, no spam and no bounces. Okay, and with the way we personalize it is we use ChatGPT, Reconnect It, or XAI, or Perplexity. We connect those to the emails, and like we have icebreakers. We have the AI actually research the company it's outreaching to. So it researches it, writes a small icebreaker line, personalizes the email, sends it out. And you can easily scale like 2,000 emails a day. You can get so many leads with that. And, most people don't go for 2,000 emails a day because finding the emails is actually quite difficult for businesses. So most, they have 500, 1,000 emails, whether they want to send every day. And that actually really helps. The response rate actually skyrockets once you include that personalization element. But you need to be careful, because AI personalization doesn't always sound natural unless you know how to actually prompt the AI model. So here again, prompt engineering is very important. You need to make sure the AI doesn't give generic compliments. It actually needs to be personalized.
Yeah, so well said. Talk to us a little bit more about prompt engineering, because I find that way too many people just are asking AI, large language models, ChatGPT, the exact same questions, where they're saying, give me 30 days of social media content about child development in the educational world. I don't know, just like something completely generic and bland. Is it additional context that you're giving that's really separating it? Is it the prompts themselves? Is it the structure? I'd love some of those insights. Of course, not revealing your secret sauce, but I'm sure that there are ways that you're going about this, that you're getting better outputs based on the strength of your inputs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the key is to give it as much context as possible, give it as many examples as possible, and don't stop with one example, like this is an example, or don't stop at 2 examples. Write 20 different examples the way you want the personalization to be. And then with the context and with the first few lines, and then the AI does its job, the personalization and the icebreaker come out to be absolutely and utterly perfect. So it's actually really about giving the AI as much examples as possible and giving it instructions. So with AI voice agents, just really hone down, like, do not say this word after you get asked this question. You have to get very specific, and that's where the expertise of having experienced so many cold calls is, that when the AI would mess up sometimes or ask the same question when it's not appropriate. So you need a lot of experience with AI output so that you can input it better.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Mike, I want to zoom out and ask this question to you as someone who's been in the marketing space for a while, especially local marketing. A lot of people are going to get really excited. Again, technology is kind of that shiny new object, especially when it comes to AI, but how's all this stuff fit in with everything that you've done up to this point in your career? How alive or dead is local marketing still with regards to, we've all had to work on SEO for decades. We've all had to work on our Google business profiles. Are those things still relevant, or can we ignore those, or would we ignore them at our peril?
Yeah, absolutely. They're absolutely still relevant. And the reason that I switched businesses is because I just really saw the appeal and how easy it is to sell AI products because the offer really sells itself. Whereas with marketing agencies, they're really a dime a dozen nowadays, and you need to really provide a lot of guarantees to stand out. And that's where my results-based mentality comes from with my AI business. I had to offer a lot of guarantees in marketing so that companies would consider me. And it's things like I'll give you more clients in 30 days, or you don't pay me anything until I do, or things like I'll lower your cost per lead, or you don't pay me anything. So things like that. And it's also vague to measure results, and you get them leads but not clients. Did you really do a good job or not? You don't know. It's vague, right? But with AI, so it's more objective. You build the software, you send it, boom, that's it, done. But absolutely, SEO marketing tactics, they will never go away. I mean, they'll be here for decades to come, just be used differently. Marketing evolves, but the core concepts remain, and there can never be something as oversaturated. I think saturation is just an example of, or an indication that something actually works. So marketing agencies absolutely work. I just found the appeal in AI more because I was genuinely impressed by the voice agents and thought that would be a better fit for me to sell. And yeah, I mean, SEO, you still need SEO. I still rely on SEO to put my website on the top page, and I still require my marketing knowledge to get my Facebook ads to perform well. So it all ties into each other. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, you just dropped a knowledge bomb right there that I want to call out. You said that saturation is just a sign that something works. I think that's such a powerful takeaway from the strategic part of your mind. And you also mentioned evolution. Obviously, you live in a world that is evolving every single day. At the time of you and I recording this, I have started to see online pop up all those AI generated videos that people are using. I think it's Google is powering that tool called Veo. These videos are unbelievable. I can't even imagine how it's going to change the entertainment industry, the content creation industry. And so all of that leads me to ask you, as the founder and CEO of an AI-based company, how the heck are you staying on top of all these new tools, all these new developments and models? How do you keep your skills sharp and know what's going on in the ever-evolving industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Every single morning, I have to read AI updates because every day something new comes up. And probably every 2 weeks, something new that I can implement into my business model, like a drastic change, comes up. So, for example, when I started out, there wasn't the capability to make 5,000 calls a day. Now there is. So when I started out, it was mainly maximum 1,000 a day. But now the concurrency has increased, and then it was difficult to link it with your calendar. Now you can link it with your calendar and even send automatic email follow-ups. And the latest update is that you can actually send texts mid-call. Before the call has even ended, you can send a text message to the prospect. So that didn't exist like a month ago, and now it does. So you really need to just stay up to date on AI stuff, like read a lot of news, catch up, but focus on your business mainly, and the opportunities will come by if you really focus on your business. You focus on the different updates in the AI industry. You just implement that. You just have to be very quick to implement, because you can't say, oh, I'm doing it this way and this has worked for me in the past, but that's no indication that's going to work in the future. You have to adapt. Always you have to adapt. And yeah, absolutely. What I sold in the beginning is way less advanced than what I'm selling right now. And I imagine by August, it will be a completely different monster.
Yeah, it's so true. I imagine a year from now, if you and I had this exact same conversation, we're going to be talking about something 100 times at a higher level. So yes, kudos to you for staying on top of all this and really driving the change. I think about all the business owners and small businesses that you personally are working with and transforming their businesses, which again, I want to reiterate, previously they would have needed massive budgets and huge employee numbers and teams in order to do this stuff. But it's so cool that you're bringing this stuff to everyday small businesses, which fits in so well with our mission here Beyond the Show. So I'm super grateful you're doing this work, and I'm very excited to hear how you answer this last question, because it's super broad and it's very entrepreneurial focused in nature. And that is, what's your best piece of advice for listeners? Knowing that we're being listened to by both entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs at all different stages of their own growth journeys, and also knowing that you're not just a subject matter expert, you're one of us, you are a fellow entrepreneur yourself. What's that one piece of advice that you want to leave them with today?
Yeah, great question. The hardest part about being an entrepreneur is actually finding out what to do. Because once you're sending out emails, your campaign is running, you have leads waiting on responses, you're left stuck. Okay, what do I do now? I'm done working. I don't know what to do. But that's where actually the real work starts. Finding out what to do is about 80% of the work. So every single day, I'd ask myself, what is my business and how does it make money? And I forced my brain to come up with 20 different things I can do today to start getting money into my business. And that's actually a good exercise because you'd go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your brain would say, all right, that's enough. We found out 5 solutions. But no, you promised yourself 20 different solutions. So you're going to force yourself to sit for 1 hour, 0 distractions, 0 dopamine hits, 1 hour, come up with 20 different things to do. And you'd be surprised by how creative your brain can get when you force your mind to actually think. And it's actually very difficult to do that. So you'd come up with 20, okay, get to work. You have 20 different things you can do for the rest of the week. And you do that every single week over week. I think that advice actually helped me a lot. And of course, the advice of consistency, but you have to be careful to be consistent with reflection, because you can't just work on something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm consistent, but you need to reflect. If something's not working, ask yourself, why isn't it working? What can I do differently? And then implement a slight tweak, maybe just change the subject line if your emails are not being read. Change the subject line, test for another week, done. That's it. Don't quit just because something's not working, but also don't keep blindly doing things that don't work. Try to understand what you can do better.
Mike, I love that advice. That is a level of intentionality. I think that you're right. I mean, you threw a little bit of shade at the generic advice that so many people give in the business world of just be consistent, but I love that caveat that you threw in there of be consistent with intentionality, with some discipline, with that focus, with genuine deep thought, which coming from the founder of an AI company like yours, I think that that's really powerful advice that we all need to take to heart in our own businesses. So, Mike, I can only imagine how many ideas our listeners are having after hearing our conversation here today. So you've got to drop some links on us. Where should listeners go to find out about all the great things that you personally are doing with OnPath Marketing and all the great things that you're launching alongside your customers and how the heck you're helping people? Where should they go from here?
Absolutely. So you can visit our website, ai.onpathmarketing.com. There you'd find the list of all the services that we provide. And below you'll find our Instagram, LinkedIn. Instagram is instagram.com/theonpathmarketing. And if you're really interested in AI cold calling specifically, go to app.onpathmarketing.com. You can get to actually talk to an AI agent on the website and even interact with a chatbot. And it's just one big, beautiful website. Check it out.
Yes, that is so cool. And listeners, you already know the drill. We're making it as easy as possible for you to click through to all those links down below in the show notes, no matter where it is that you're tuning into today's episode. So you don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to remember it. If you're on the go or you're driving, you can click right on through from the show notes. Otherwise, Mike, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much.